with me for a while.
Coach, are you ready?
Yeah, who do I look? What do I just look at? Whoever's talking to me, or
So-
there's lots of cameras around?
I'll start you off by asking for a little recap of last weekend, and then we'll look to Texas, and then we'll open up for questions.
Okay. Ready?
Yes.
Okay. I thought we played really well this last weekend on all sides of the game. I thought we pitched well. Hitting was just outstanding. Lots of timely hits, hard hits. 1, 2, 3 in the lineup were exceptional. I thought our defense was all over the place, making big time plays. Kansas is a good team. They swing, they pitch well. There was just a different level of intensity for whatever reason. But I do think it lends to us going to Austin and feeling like we played so well the weekend before.
Patty, we get a chance to talk to Kenzie here in a little bit, and obviously get to ask her a little bit about it, but you were able to get her back in there, especially behind the plate there, that last inning on Saturday.
Yeah.
Keep wanting to say Sunday, but...
Yeah, right. I just wanted to slowly bring her in. She felt pretty good swinging, so I gave her that opportunity. Gave her one at bat the first day. I think I turned her into to the DP on one of those days as well. I wanted to give her maybe one inning just to see what it looked like in a real game instead of throwing her into Texas. She's ready to go. She's ready to go, so you will see her back there again.
When you talk about aggression early from the hitting side of things, is that when you know that this group's locked in, seeing stuff really well, when they're attacking first pitch, first inning?
Yeah, it's nice. Sometimes I like to be visitors because we like to set the tone, and we talked a little bit about that. And they were just swinging the bat so well and seeing the ball really big. It looked like they were not fooled by much, and they hit some tough pitches hard that went out. So, yeah, I mean, I think they're ready to go into Austin and see how this goes. I mean, they really, everybody, top to bottom, did a really good job offensively.
Patty, what's the challenge of Texas? They have a bunch of arms, obviously some speed with their lineup, but what's the biggest challenge in your mind as it relates to this matchup?
I think handling their pitchers. They have a lot of different looks. They got a really good freshman that's throwing well. We've seen the other arms, but they're always tough to hit. I think our pitching staff is going to be a big part of this as well. I think if we can keep the ball in the park, we can do some really good things. We have such good outfielders with great arms that can cut people down at second. We've got to watch their short game. They like to lay down bunts a lot. They do have a lot of speed, and they'll run when you least expect it. So when we work on them, we're just high alert when we're at practice. We're running people, we're moving people, we're trying to simulate the best that we can.
When you talk about their short game, it will obviously be important for your defense to play well. How do you feel like, what do you feel like sort of they are in terms of just, at this point in the year, do you like where your defense is stacked up right now?
Us?
Yeah, you guys.
Defense is probably the best part of our game right now, what I feel. I like the Alina, Torres, Avery Hodge. You get the best out of your, a defender and then the best out of your hitter. They both can do both things well. So I really loved how that has transgressed. Left side of the infield is money. Our outfielders, all of them, are great defensively. I could bring in people later in the game that are more like defensive specialists. So Kenzie Hansen's back, so I feel really good about walking in there.
Patty, we've seen Jada do so many great things in her career, and I'm not saying we take her for granted, I don't, but she had such a great weekend this past weekend, and it looks like she's ready to close out the second half of her career last week, in a great fashion. She was great last week.
Yeah, I feel like they are starting to feel that the bigness of the season is showing up right now, and they get that. So they want to be at their best. All of them do. So Jada leads the way. She's a good leader by example at the plate. Tiare is swinging really well. Brito always is swinging well. They were very timely, very clutch. And that's what you're going to have when you go to Texas. You got to have all parts of your game working.
Patty, you mentioned the swinging so well, but the walk numbers were pretty high this
Yeah.
weekend too.
Yeah.
What do you? How much is it just patience at the plate? Is it just what do you maybe attribute that to?
I think patience, good hitters. I mean, they understand that our walks turn into runs, and so they don't chase things out of the zone. They're not trying to be superheroes. They know if we can get runners on, we can do things. And so they understand that process.
How important maybe is that going into Texas? How important might that be to maybe have that patience?
Yeah, I mean, it's tough to get base runners on against them. So if we can turn some of these tough at-bats into walks, that really, really helps us, especially if we can move that runner into scoring position. We've got people that if we can swing hard, hit the ball hard, usually their infield is very fast and very bouncy. So we want to put our strength in behind our swings. And I mean, a ball up the middle or a ball through an infield gap can score us a run. So we'll take them any way we can get them.
Going back to Kenzie, you told us a story about how you found Riley, but how much more have you learned about her, to how she responded the last 2-3 weeks?
Riley?
Ludlam. Yeah.
Ludlam. She's very much of a team player, very excited to get the opportunity. The feeling I get from her is I'm not going to let this team down. And she had some very timely at-bats. She handled her position in the lineup pretty well, turned a lot of those into walks also. Just kept all the balls in front of her. Did a really nice job of keeping the ball in front there. I don't remember a ball by her, past her. She's a little bit shy, and catchers cannot be that. A la Kenzie Hansen is a reason why she's a catcher. So she really started to be a little more vocal. We talked a lot about that. You're the captain and the leader of the infield. You must communicate, you must talk, and with the outfielders as well. I mean, they've got to hear your messaging through our infield. Like she says it, our infield says it to them. So she's not a big vocal, but I'm like, you gotta have another ego when you're on this field and let it out. And she's been doing that. So very much team oriented.
Patty, you've had so many great players over the years, but Tiare keeps putting her name up on all those lists of stats. How would you sort of put her in the litany of greats that you've had over the years?
I have to say she is, you think of Aloe, Chamberlain, like big time home runs. Just everyone's seen these big, long, 300-foot bomb. Tiare, you want her in the clutch situation because she handles it so well. She's a great two-strike hitter. She doesn't strike out a lot. She doesn't get nerves. She doesn't try to overswing. She doesn't try to show off. She's just another team-oriented. What can I do to help this team? I think I'll never forget. It was her birthday last year against Stanford, and we just were having a tough time with them. And specifically, Tiare was having a tough time. And she doesn't take her last at-bats into the next. And that's what I love about her maturity of saying, give me the bat, I'll get it done. Because of that opportunity is a big reason why we ended up in the national championship series. So nothing phases her. And she is a captain, but she's not a big talker. She's just absolutely by example.
You talk about Kenzie's personality. What did you see from her, the way she handled the last couple of weeks, being on the bench and still handling that role as captain?
Super frustrated, but not showing it. So she'd sit next to Coach Rocha. Kenzie wants to be a coach in the future, and sat next to Coach Rocha and was kind of learning from her pitch calling. And they were interacting, so I could hear them talking some. She was vocal. She was right in the middle of it.
You talked about Tiare being clutch bunch the past couple of years. Is there a moment you remember as soon as her freshman year, sophomore year, when you're like, man, this is someone you can really rely on anytime in a massive moment?
Just watched her grow up, and once we got her committed and she got taller and stronger, I just couldn't wait to watch. She just hit bomb after bomb after bomb. I'm like, this is a woman amongst girls right now. And so when she came here, it was about strength. When freshmen come in, you got to get them strong to get them what they want, to get the ball out of the yard or hit it hard. And she showed it her freshman year, and she's never let up. I'll tell you one thing that I've learned about young players is when they have a phenomenal season their freshman year, then sophomore year, they just try to match it. And when you're chasing numbers, you're going nowhere. And she never did that. She just really stayed true to herself. I've had some elite players just want to outdo themselves, and it just wasted half of the season. She has a very smart approach towards what she does, and she's very cool and very calm. And one thing that I remember all of you were asking not long ago is who's going to play shortstop? It's going to be Brito. It's going to be Tiare is really, really good at shortstop, and her long levers allow her to reach things. And she's pretty shifty, pretty athletic. So not only has she helped us at the plate, but her defense has been outstanding.
Patty, they've sold out this game a long time ago, and it's going to be a crazy environment. Your team seems to thrive in that, though, don't they?
They do. I mean, it's fun to play in front of any kind of crowd, whether they're for you or against you. When you hear the sounds and the excitement, it just kind of drives your adrenaline a bit. So they're looking forward to it. It's always going to be a very competitive, very intense type game. There's a lot of theatrics at times and a lot going on. I think umpires have their hands full, definitely. But it's fun. That's what it's about. It's fun to play in those environments. Where your best memories come from when you leave softball. You don't remember your run rules, or at least I don't. You remember when your team is in the trenches together, and that's kind of like in any sport or in any military, wherever. I mean, when you're side by side, you're fighting for it. Those are moments you'll never forget. So they love that stuff.
Coach, how has Kelly Maxwell been as like a leader of the pitching staff lately?
I think she'll speak up. I wouldn't say she's another leader by example. She doesn't talk a lot, but she does share her thoughts and so forth. So I'd say Nicole May is more of that, just because how long she's been in this program. I think Kelly comes in as a newbie and is like, I'm just gonna do my job. But the more they're together, the more they're very communicative. That pitching staff, they're like their own team within a team.
Patty, you probably has developing so much from softball right now.
Oh no, we're not doing this again.
Do you face any pressure with that, or how do you deal with it?
Absolutely not. No, we don't. We just want to win games, and if they're strung together, great. If we lose one in between, that's fine. One thing we know how to do is respond quickly. We've always had that mentality, so nothing concerns me right now. We're just trying to play our best softball this time of the season. It's that time to start revving that up, and I felt that last week.
Texas lost 2 or 3 in Stillwater. Is there anything you can take away from that series to, maybe slow them down?
A few things. I mean, we're just really diving in and looking at their pitching staff and where we might take advantage of some things. I feel like we hit the ball hard. We're going to have some good success and shut down their running game. They like to run. They get on. I mean, they had 6 or 7 hits. They were on base. They just couldn't put anything together. So you can look at Oklahoma State's game, and they threw very well. They played very well. But you got to know what your pitching staff looks like and how you can frame that against Texas. So we're working still.
Patty, I know you're knee deep in your season, but women's basketball NCAA tournament has just taken that sport to a whole other level. Have you consumed any of that? Sort of seen what's been happening with that? What's your impressions of that?
I think there's some elite basketball players. It's exciting to watch. It's competitive. At times it might get a little bit showy, but that's what people like and what people watch. There's some things, I mean, I just, look, this is true. I love watching elite play, whether it's bowling or golf or softball or women's basketball, whatever it is. I love to watch elite athletes. And for me or anyone personally to say anything negative about that is just ludicrous. It shows the people behind the scenes who have something to say to try to get the focus on them. I'm like, what are we doing? Let us play. Let us play. I don't care if you like us or not, and evil umpire or the debutantes and all this other garbage. It's just garbage. Let us play. We've worked so hard as female athletes to get here, whether softball, basketball, what have you. We just want to play. And if you love watching us, and just leave it alone. Leave it alone. But nobody can, because they need attention. So that's what I've learned. I just tell our players, just let us play, have fun. The outside is just keep everything in our bubble, and don't let that affect us. We're not doing anything wrong. What are we doing wrong? What are we doing wrong except winning? And people don't like that. I'm sorry, that's my job. That's what I get paid for. So I'm not gonna lose to make you happy. I mean, we practice hard, we play hard, as does every other female sport out there for the most part. So it's kind of discouraging and hard to listen and watch, people trying to expose things. And again, we're just trying to make the sport better and bring fans in. And I don't know what viewership was, but I was tuning in, as probably everyone else here, to see that matchup. It was intriguing. But they're elite athletes. That's what intrigues me. All that other stuff I don't care about. I care about watching 35-foot bombs. I mean, it's like unbelievable. And from both sides. I mean, there's not one favorite player. I just love good competition and elite athletes competing. There's nothing better than that.
The fact that there were millions of people that tuned in to see what you tuned in to see, does that, I mean, as somebody who's in the space of women's sports, has to harden you in a special way.
I love it. I went home like, yeah, let's see what's up. Let's go. Let's get. My husband's like, well, what are you turning it to? I'm like, get out of here. We're going, because this is something that, I mean, it built. Unfortunately, it built up over a bad story. But who cares? You're watching, and if you want to see that there's going to be a fight, there's not going to be a fight. There's going to be a fight on the court as to who is going to try to win that game. There's chippiness everywhere. You may not see it on the field. There's chippiness going around. But again, like I said, we've worked so hard to get millions of people to tune in. That's tremendous for us. And to see, what's really cool is to see these young women in these commercials, And I'm like, man, would any of these softball athletes get that opportunity? I hope so. But, it's growing. Whether you like it or not, we don't care. It's growing, and we've been working towards that. And it's as a coach that's been doing this for a long time and seeing where it started and where it is now, it's thrilling. It really is thrilling.
Last one for Coach.
Yeah, Patty, you talked about sort of following up with that. You talked about, I can't remember the word, showy. You alluded to some of the criticisms that have been lobbed at your team at times over the last couple of years.
Yeah.
When did you become all right with that? I don't know if that makes sense, but
Well, I'm not going to fight. I'm not going to give you my time because you don't deserve it if you're saying things like that. So it's more of just protecting the team and saying I don't open those doors personally. Now, if you're personally attacking us, I mean, we've been called the evil umpire.
yeah. Well, I guess I was more saying
Yes.
like sort of, I don't know, the let them have fun, let them play type of mentality, and sort of embracing that.
I think that's what we do. I mean, we look at it like you can't be us. Sorry. So we're just going to keep being us. I don't have time for people who are not involved in what we're doing. You can have an opinion, say it as loud as you want, but we're not really listening. We know what's in front of us, and the people that we care about, the people that we know, and the people that are connected to our program mean more than anything. So We've got thick skin. Just keep bringing it. We've been accused of about everything. It's okay, because I know the truth. I look in my mirror, unfortunately, every day. I look in my mirror every day and say, I know I haven't done one thing wrong, except everything right for what my job description says. And the players feel that way as well. So we can't please everyone, and we're not here to do that.